Here we go. We are live, and it would help if I put the right screen on. There we go. Okay, so we are live, and we have some special guests with us here today. Everyone give a warm welcome to Kenny and Claire. Kenny and Claire, give a warm welcome to everyone here, and that probably means giving a warm welcome to YouTube, because that's where most people are going to see this.
Hey, everybody. Glad to see you.
Yeah. So Kenny and Claire can't join us on video right now because they are currently on tour. This is your spring tour, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it still? It's still called an Are You Weary tour?
We're calling it our Spring Tour 2023. We're sharing songs from Are You Weary, but then we're also sharing songs from that we're hoping to put on our upcoming album as well.
Oh, that's exciting. Ooh. You haven't dropped a name for the upcoming album, have you?
No, we haven't
made a name.
Okay.
Towards it, we've been those, but we don't have the official project out yet.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. Are you guys going to fund that one through Kickstarter as well?
We are. Yeah. So this podcast is helpful for us too.
Nice. Oh, that's so great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So today's episode of the Worshipping Songwriter Podcast is going to be all about crowdfunding, recording, and just general being a musician. But before we get that, we do have some orders of business that need to be taken care of. Okay, so Jared, first up, Toddler Tales. Got any?
Toddler Tales. Today? I don't know.
Okay.
Not anything good. Just like normal Judah things.
Okay, I got the cute one. We were in Chipotle today. Pop Pop had come over to watch Lily while I was recording some videos for the Kickstarter. And we go to Chipotle afterwards because I want to say thank you to Pop Pop for watching her. And we get in line, we order her a kid's quesadilla. And then the lady behind the counter says, okay, and what sides would you like with that? And Lily, being held up in my arms, goes, black beans. And so that was the first time she had said black beans, and it was to actually complete her Chipotle order, and I was so proud of her.
Proud.
Okay.
Awesome.
So up next, we do need to talk about something very important. Jared, how was Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's the reason why we didn't record yesterday. A zero spoilers review. It was very good.
Nice.
Yeah, I go out with like when new Marvel movies come out and stuff. There's a group of like guys and like some youth students from our youth group and some former youth students who graduated that I still have relationships with, and it's kind of like a relational thing, relationship building and keeping in touch, and it's pretty fun. So we went to go see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was good. 10 out of 10.
Okay. You have that. That is the Worshipping Songwriter recommendation to go see Spider-Man. Okay. Yeah. Originally, we were going to use this podcast to talk about superheroes. But then Kenny and Claire agreed to join us for this. But before we get to them, we have one more thing that we have to talk about, Jared, because we're still in the middle of something big, aren't we?
Yeah, the Kickstarter update.
Yes. So one of the reasons for starting this podcast is to be able to update our backers about our Kickstarter, which we have 21 days to go, but we have reached over 50% funding.
Yeah.
Woo! So we are so excited about that. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to it. Now it's just we've gotten over the first 50%. Now it's time to really close it out. So we can use your help with that. So if you're watching this and you haven't supported the Kickstarter, go ahead and check us out. There is a link in the comments right now. And on YouTube, there will be a link in the doobly-doo. But I just wanted to quickly highlight some of the reward tiers because we have the normal ones. Like you can get our album that's going to come out. You can get t-shirts, like the standard band stuff. But there's also a couple of unique ones on there. First is one of the reward tiers is music lessons. And actually one of the things that inspired me to do this was Kenny and Claire, their Kickstarter. I kind of stole this from them. Like, hey, I teach lessons. So if you want to take lessons with me, you can do that by signing up for the $100 reward tier on the Kickstarter, and that gets you an hour lesson along with the album and the music and all of that. So I would love to have a lesson with you and be able to share more about making music. So if you or anyone you know is looking for lessons and it is June 2023, send them over to the Kickstarter. We're also going to have a VIP concert in January. And this is not going to be like our other concerts. Normally when we do a concert, it's more of we're going to play the songs for you and you're going to listen and sing along and have a great time. The VIP concert is more of a, hey guys, let's sit down. I'm still planning out the details for it, but I want there to be food. I want it to feel like a bunch of friends having dinner together and listening to music and learning more about the songs and learning more about what went into the music. So if you're looking for a way to connect with us and to learn more about the music and to have a really good question and answer time, as well as listen to good music and never before heard songs, because one of the things we want to share at the VIP concert is some of the songs that were good but just didn't make the cut for the album. Jared, how many songs did we have on our short list?
25, if I remember correctly.
We had 25 songs on our short list for this album, and we narrowed it down to 10. It was going to be 11, but like a week before
and we took one out.
Yeah, the week before the Kickstarter launches, I'm just not feeling this one in the flow of the songs. I'm glad we removed it. It's a good song, but I think we need to save it for the VIP concert. So, if you want to hear songs that no one else is going to hear, VIP concert is the level you want to go for. And the VIP concert, tickets for that are at the VIP concert level, the duo level, and then also all of the other like high tier ones also include tickets to the VIP concert. So like I know my mom has elected to select a hymn for our acoustic hymn project, and she gets a VIP ticket.
Yeah, so, I had some friends interested in that. Picking a hymn.
Hey, tell them to group up. We can put all their names in the program.
I know.
So there is a reward tier. You can pick a hymn, and we're going to record it in our home studio and put together a project of hymns arranged by Loch Cain. And if you do that, you would get your name in the credits of the acoustic hymns project, as this song was supported or kickstarted by so and so. To be clear, we are not obligated to use it. It's not an automatic in to the album. You will get a hymn. We will arrange a hymn and send you the hymn. But it's not an automatic get on the album, but it is very likely, especially if you pick a good hymn.
Right.
So,
like, I don't know if we can do, Onward Christian Soldier.
I was thinking the exact same song.
I just cannot.
I don't know how well Onward Christian Soldiers would vibe with us, but we would if you wanted an Onward Christian Soldiers arrangement by Loch Cain, we will do it personally for you. Yep. Okay. And the final one is church concerts or house concerts. Either one. One of our higher reward tiers is for a concert, and we would love to come and play the album for you, come and share these with you, and especially with your church. So if your church might be interested in a Loch Cain concert or a Christ the Hope of Glory concert, check out that tier and ask your church if the church wants to support it at that level, because you can get if you get a church of 70 people, then each one says, yeah, I'll give $10 towards that. Then you're basically good, and we can do a concert. And that goes such a long way in helping us reach the final goal for recording this album. So
Yeah.
I think the moral of the story is we need your help. Not just
We do.
Yeah. Not just for you personally to pledge, but to share it with other people who are interested. And that's the key. People who are interested in congregational singing. Because if people
And pray for us.
Yes, and pray for us. Yeah. But if you share this with people who are interested in a project like this, then that's how this spreads and that's how this grows and that's how we turn this album into a reality. So,
Right.
Jared, anything you wanted to share?
I guess just a little plug in for our next concert. Then
Oh,
will
yep,
be at
yep.
the end of June 23rd at my church at Crossing Community Church in Newtown, PA.
Jared, can
So,
you drop a
we're gonna
link
be
for the
playing through.
tickets into the comments?
Yeah, I'll go find it.
It's on Eventbrite.
Yep.
Okay, so we got all that out of the way. Now, for the main show. Everyone, Kenny and Claire.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Kenny and Claire, could you guys introduce yourselves?
Sure. So, if you wanted the fancy description, it would be that we are a folk Americana duo and we love writing music for the church. Our goal is to write music that is doctrinally sound as much as it can be. And try to stick to the truths of Scripture in our writing. We try to write for congregational singing, but we also just write for congregations in the way of if it's just music that you want to listen to in your car or as you're going through your day that just reminds you of what the Word says. That's our goal. So that's right, and what we love to do.
A lot of our work is rewriting old hymns that have been forgotten to reintroduce some of the old theology back to the church. But we also write songs that are scripture songs, as well as on this upcoming album, possibly a song around the Apostles' Creed.
Mhm.
Ooh, nice.
So that's one reason why we're super excited about y'all's project as well, to see that you are writing for the church and writing congregationally friendly songs. And we love the work that we've seen Dan do in the past, because we know Dan, but I'm excited to recently get to meet Jared as well. Like I said, just super excited about the work that you guys are doing, the project that you're doing. And it's obviously going over well because you've gotten over 50% already, which is awesome. And we definitely want to see you guys finish strong, finish well.
And I must say, Dan, you have a voice for radio.
Thank you. It's the Shure SM7B microphone.
I think it's also the baritone voice.
That
Us
too.
sinners
That too.
is quite as good.
I'll say too that if you guys haven't listened to Kenny and Claire's stuff, I was just talking to them before we went live. I told them my two favorites on their recent EP album has to be Are You Weary and Oh For a Faith. So you should check them out.
Yeah.
They're really good.
So if you're listening to this and you haven't heard Kenny and Claire's stuff, go check them out. I actually
Thanks, guys.
I actually used them as an example of my songwriting class at Cairn University. And you guys gained a fan because of that.
Aw.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yep. Just to let you know, you are quoted in one of the papers that they have to turn in with their songs for me. Is they have to turn in a list of inspirations. I got
That
the
makes
idea
sense.
from Adam Neely in his videos where he's advocating for a kind of like a works cited for recordings, so that Ed Sheeran can use a chord progression and not be taken to court over it.
Yeah.
But so what I have my students do is I say, okay, hey, treat this like you're writing an essay and tell me what your works cited is. If you've been inspired by a song, just let me know what it is. You can try to handle the copyright stuff if you ever want to go publish it. So, your song, Are You Weary, is on a collegiate level paper that was turned in for a grade.
So, cool. Yeah, we love getting to speak with your class. That was really, really sweet time.
Yeah, Kenny and Claire did a guest interview with us, and that was great. Okay, well, Kenny and Claire, you guys have been through the crowdfunding ring once before. So you crowdfunded Are You Weary, and then you used that to go record Are You Weary. Could you tell us a little bit about that process? Like some of the things you did in preparation for it, some of the fears you had, what it was like during it, just in general. What was it like for you guys?
Sure. The first part that comes to mind is that it was just really scary. It's a lot of money to raise. And
What was your goal?
it was $18,000.
Yeah.
That was, and to be frank, that didn't even cover everything.
So you guys were being cheap with 10K.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way of, yes, support their project and their work and all the things, because it's expensive. And if they need to go over on that amount, because it always costs a lot more than you budget for at the same time. So there you go. There's another, but it's true. It was a little scary, not little. Okay. It was a lot of scary. Just because we knew that if it didn't work out, well, then it didn't work out, but it definitely just made us be driven to prayer throughout the entire process of really desperation too, of, okay, Lord, if you want this to happen, then you've got to provide. And he did. And I look back and it's a milestone marker for us just to see the Lord's sovereign provision and how he's continued to provide. I think it's a comfort at the same time just to remember in any situation that we're in, whether we're raising money to make music or any other circumstance, just that the Lord is with us, not just us, all of us. He's with us. He cares for us. He loves us, and he brings his purposes to come. And so if he wants it to happen, it'll happen. It's just when you're in the middle of that Kickstarter and you don't know if you're going to have the funds needed at that time, you wonder, okay, Lord, is this really what you want?
Hey, that sounds familiar.
Yes.
Well, like even on the other side of it, like after you've raised the funds, you wonder, are they even going to like it? Like, is what I did worth the money people put into it? Like, is this going to be good? I don't know. That was my.
Always definitely need to be room for self-doubt. But as you said earlier with your project, that you want these songs to serve people, that you chose not 11 songs, but 10 songs that were your favorites, and for different reasons, but that you love, that you believe in. I'm a firm believer in that if you really love something, the chances are somebody else is going to really love that thing too. And it may not resonate with everybody, but it'll resonate with some people. And those people will help if that music, then they're going to help that come to be. And it's humbling when you see that people do get behind that. We're doing what we do today because of, well, the people that helped kickstart us.
We couldn't do what we're without that Kickstarter campaign.
Touring and sharing music and writing music is our full-time job now, but it wouldn't have been that had it not been for those that backed us during the Kickstarter. That was just the beginning. So you asked about the process. So
the recording process. So
sure.
Let's say the Kickstarter is successful. You've gotten your funding, and it's been 20 days, so the funds have actually been dispersed to you. What do you do now?
Well, we went into the studio and we worked on recording.
How did you find a studio?
So I was gonna say before we started the Kickstarter, we reached out to a handful of producers. Now we selected producers based on who they had recorded. So we found people whose music we liked, and we looked for people who had produced them, or we heard from people we knew who knew other people. And eventually we centered in on Evan Redwine. He had done some stuff with an Indelible Grace and Arcadian Wild. And what I like when in his recording process, like I look for spatial awareness in the music. Like I want to hear really deep deeps that are boomy, but there's space. Like you just feel like there's, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
There's
but
width.
that's what I'm looking
and depth to the recording.
Like, I feel like the instruments are in different parts of the room. I want to
Yeah.
know, or I want everything separated, and I want the deeps to be really dark. So Evan recorded that way. So anyways, we sent him some demos to see if that was something he might be interested in. He was interested in our project, and so we went ahead and did all the budgeting before the Kickstarter. So we knew how much Evan and the musicians he was going to hire would cost us up front.
Along with the mixing and the mastering.
Along with mixing and mastering. There's a story behind the mastering because we had to do it twice.
Yeah.
But
that's actually a good story. So, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so we had that budget ahead of time, so we knew what we were looking at when we hit the Kickstarter. So that meant after the Kickstarter was finished and we received our funds, we could go straight into the studio, and we already had the studio picked out, the musicians picked out, and the amount of time it would take.
And did you do that decision making through your producer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys chose a producer, and then the producer brought the production together.
So
Yes.
the producer, he's going to know which studios work best for how he produces. Each producer is going to produce a little bit differently. Also, each producer has a group of musicians he trusts. So instead of like us saying, hey, I know a guy who plays bass and I know a guy who, he wants to make sure that he knows the musicians because he knows what he's looking for sound wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, when you hire a professional producer, they're actually going to change the songs a bit. Evan did in good ways, and not without our consent, but like, hey, have you thought about this? What about this kind of rhythm here? And having that third-party input actually made the song so much better as well, because we get stuck in our own heads. We have, a lot of the same inclinations from song to song, and so it's good to have somebody throw some variety in there and say, hey, so like you liked Oh for a Faith, like all those crazy background vocals that are going on during that song and stuff. That was a lot of that stuff that Evan put together and said, hey, we need let's use voices to kind of fill this space.
Wow.
But ideas that we wouldn't have thought of necessarily.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, how long do you guys have?
As long as my phone doesn't die, we're good.
Okay. So we try to aim for 10, but we're very bad at keeping time. So
Okay.
Just the next
We were
section.
good last time.
The next section we do will be the questions that we got.
I was going to say, if I need to, I can run back to the camper and get a charger. But
Yeah, I think
I think the phone will last. Yeah.
Okay. So you were saying, Claire?
Oh, so you're asking about the process. So in our case, Evan was both and then he was also the recording engineer. So he captured the sound, but then he also mixed it. And I love that he did both just because of where his talents and skill sets lie. And then we sent it off to be mastered. So that was the process. It took longer than expected, and I think that's a good general rule of thumb to expect that it's going to take longer than you expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the risks section of our Kickstarter, I have listed recording, mixing, and mastering is a wild card. You may get your digital goods before you get your physical goods.
Oh yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
So real quick, the mastering issue was interesting.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So Evan originally had a guy that he trusted to do mastering and who had done a really good job. But when he mastered our music, he mastered it like it was a pop song.
Mm-hmm.
And the EQ just wasn't right. It didn't sound like we wanted it to. And you get when you pay a guy to master, you get 3 revisions. And we did it twice, and we didn't feel like a third would make a difference. So then we ended up hiring. Evan said he knew a Grammy Award winning mixer for bluegrass.
Brad Blackwood.
Brad Blackwood, yeah. and he nailed it with the first one. But that meant that we had to pay for mastering twice. So, and getting a Grammy Award-winning guy to master it isn't cheap. So, you know, it was just, we knew it was I guess that's the thing. Like, all of this is a stewardship regarding the songs. Like, we want the songs to be something that's going to serve, but we also have to serve the songs in making them as good as we can make them. And so, we decided it was worth the investment to get them mixed right. And it really was. It made a huge difference.
Well, the final product you guys have, the album is phenomenal. So I think it was well worth it.
And that
Praise
is
the Lord.
Are You Weary? You guys can stream it anywhere. You guys can find it at some of their social links that we have up here on the screen at Kenny and Claire Music. Okay, well, are we ready to move into some of the questions that we got?
Sure.
Okay. So, we have 3 questions from some of the people. You put together a group of songwriters, and we asked them for some questions. And here is what we got. Okay, so, and this is open for anyone to answer. Matt Wheeler asks, what have you found to be effective rewards to offer for a crowdfunding campaign? Anything unusual? Do you find that CDs still appeal to backers?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. And that CDs still do appeal. We found that with the crowdfunding because it seems like as if they seem to still want the physical product.
Mm-hmm.
So at our concerts, we're currently sold out of CDs. Don't worry if you're coming. We'll get more then. But people still want that physical copy. I'm one of those people. So I think that that's helpful.
It is encouraging to have to order more in the middle of a tour.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or as words. I mean, I can tell you what we did, but
I'll tell you one that didn't work.
Okay.
Well, actually, it did work, and we're working on it. But I used to build guitars for Gibson, and so one of our rewards was me to build custom guitars.
He's still building the custom guitars.
We did not being on the road full time as quickly as we were, and so I imagined that I had time to build guitars. So I'm in contact with all of our Kickstarter people. I'm sending them pictures every time I'm working on them, but it's kind of unexpected situation here. We're not home very often anymore.
Cursed by success.
Yeah, it's encouraging to have to be away from home as much as we are, because I mean it's just the Lord's blessing what we're doing. But yeah, I need to find a way to get on those harder.
I think as far as rewards, though, in that vein, thinking of things that are unique to you that you can offer and that you can do, like Dan, you can do music lessons, do the music lessons. One of the things that we did and we made a lot of were wooden guitar picks. People apparently seem to really like those. Even are involved with helping with that. But then we did mugs. We're a big fan of mugs. People like mugs.
They're nice mugs too.
Thanks.
I got the guitar pick package.
So we actually just upgraded our mugs to hand-thrown mugs from a company in Salt Lake City. So
AJ Pot.
Check these. The new mugs are serious mugs. You'll like them.
Well, the next time you launch a Kickstarter, I'm gonna have to get another mug.
I think one possibility is to create a limited edition Kickstarter mug. We're thinking about possibly. So we'll see. But yeah.
I think I'll throw in a few 2 cents here as well for Kickstarter rewards, just because I'm in the middle of seeing how they're working out. One of the things I found is you don't want to have a throwaway donation. So I was considering doing just early streaming access, but I'm like, well, if someone's going to donate $5 for early streaming, they might as well donate $10 to actually get the album.
Yeah.
And so it's like taking into account that how many people, I think that the number of people we would lose from not having a $5 option is not greater than the number of people who wouldn't just jump to the $10 option. And so it's this idea like we actually want to give you the songs, not just something that's only good for a week before we launch the album.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Then the other thing I found is I want to have a range of giving options. Like having the big options there. I am surprised by how popular the Pick a Hymn selection has been.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have fostered good relationships in your life, there are people who want to see you succeed. Hi, Mom. Thanks. And like giving them options that make them feel special is important. And things that, like, you can also cater rewards to people that you know. Because ask a friend, like, hey, how much are you willing to give, and what would you want for that? Because then you have a package that isn't just hypothetical, but it's based on a real person. And that's some of the best things in life come when you're not trying to do the thing that they end up doing. So some of the best songs that we use in our churches were not designed to be like world tier worship songs. They were written like, I'm thinking of like, even going back to our teenage years, How He Loves was written as like a personal lament over the death of a friend. And then boom, it explodes to this huge worship song. So instead of just trying to make rewards that are rewards, make rewards for people that you know that want to support you.
Well, especially when people are wanting to know you and want to support something, you want to give them some buy-in, like something that makes them feel like actually a part of the thing, not just giving to the thing, but like being a part of the project, like intimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important to remember and important to acknowledge however you can, that, you know, the people that are backing you truly are helping your project come to life.
Yeah.
And just any way that we can try to express that. I'm
always surprised. Oh, sorry, Claire, go for it.
Oh, you're fine.
I was going to say, I'm always surprised that people are interested in CDs. Like it always blows my mind.
It's like
and
souvenirs.
Well, what's interesting too is like records are coming back, like vinyl. Like those are really big right now.
Yeah, but I'd have to launch another Kickstarter just to get a run of vinyl going.
Yes, that's the thing.
There's a lot of front end costs doing vinyl.
Yeah, I think like the minimum order I could do for vinyl was something like $2,000 for a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And
but
so, yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, one thing you said, though, is really important. Like, people do, I've seen at our concerts that people kind of do treat the CDs as a souvenir, like as a what they heard. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that CDs are still around as far as doing what we do. Like, we're seeing sales because people want to take home, you know, a memory.
Or to give as a gift to somebody else there.
We've run into too, yeah.
At our own concerts, we have the Home That He Has Promised EP, and people will actually, like, they're $10 each, but then people will pay like $20, $30 and just say, keep the change, I'll just take one, because they're like, I want to support these guys. And so it's not about the money, it's not about the product, it's about having that support relationship, and then also having the souvenir that says, hey, I was there.
Yeah.
Jared has a Home That He Has Promised CD hanging on his wall behind him.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Yep. Okay, are we ready for question number 2?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Seth Jernigan asks, maybe reflect on the difference between recording the cheap way, self-producing, recording at home, send it all over to a session guys, etc., and going to a studio with a producer and being in the same room as the session musicians. So,
I will say, depends on your gifts. If you have the gifts, to be able to self-produce and self-produce well in a way that serves the songs and serves what you want to do with the songs, and so that the songs stand alone as a good product, so to speak. Again, one that if you have the skills to do that, by all means, do that. That's awesome. We have a friend too who recently had a super creative idea. I don't know all the details behind it, but it sounded incredible. Benjamin Daniel had, I hope he doesn't kill me for saying this, but people recording their parts via voice memo, but his producer produced it in such a way that it came out super cool. And I don't know all the details.
So,
so it depends on it depends on your talents, abilities, time. Yeah.
I think that there are two ways to look at it too. Like, I thought I knew my way around Logic Pro pretty well. And to be fair, like, if I were to produce an EP for us, it would sound a lot like our live show. Just because that's what I know. Where having the professional producer was helpful is, again, in getting the variety of ideas targeted towards the song. And then, like, his expertise with how to clean the sound up. Like, I was watching Evan run Logic, or he wasn't run Logic, he was running something else. And just flying through the thing, you know, because he does it day in and day out. And it's one of those things where I'm sure I could probably do an acceptable job, but I know that Evan, he does it day in and day out. He knows what he's doing, you know? So it's just, I kind of like to think of it with the producer and the session musicians a lot like the church, where we all have a certain gift set. And if we work together in unison, we create something beautiful. And so, yeah, I mean, I see positives on both ends. But I'm thankful that we went the route that we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that part of this too is going to be with what your intention is with the recording, because not every recording is the recording you put on Spotify.
Yeah, this is true.
So, like, for me, I had a personal goal of learning how to get a really good singer-songwriter production that I could do myself. So, like, for my YouTube videos, I don't know if you saw my latest video with the home that he has promised. I went into, Lindsay and I, we recently just got a new house. It's a fixer-upper, so right now we're going in and out doing projects, and it's pretty empty. Well, what I did was I set up in a corner, our dining room has a really neat printed wall, wood printed wall. And so I'm like, that would look cool in a video. Ooh, this is a very, like, I have an EP called The Home That He Has Promised, and here I have an empty home that I can go do it from. So I've been doing a couple live from the house sessions.
Cool.
So I'll pass you that video afterwards. Actually, Jared, would you mind looking up The Home That He Has Promised live from the house? It's on the Worshiping Songwriter YouTube page. If you could put that in the comments, that'd be great. But I had a goal of learning how to produce myself singing and playing acoustic guitar. And if I could do those two things and make it YouTube worthy, then I'm doing good. But it's not something that I would put on Spotify, because if I'm going to put it on Spotify, I want to get that other perception. The producer and the sound engineers, they know things that I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
And as I'm stumbling through and I'm learning, we took a live recording of our concert that we did at Calvary, and I'm learning a lot from trying to mix that myself.
Yeah. Live. Yeah.
But so what I was saying is it depends on what the purpose of the recording is. Because if the purpose is to put those videos up on YouTube for those live little YouTube videos, then I don't want to have to go to a producer every time paying that out of pocket, especially when my YouTube is not monetized yet.
Yeah.
And
no, that's the thing. extent of my knowledge for Logic Pro and our home studio is so that I can get, like, I can send out takes if I need to. We can set up and do videos. We've done some of those, some live concert things for like a festival once. So trying to, like, I think as a performing musician, you need some basic skills in those kind of things, really, just so your people can hear from you somewhat regularly. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's
I think
that.
that's a good segue into the next question too, Dan.
Yeah. There was one more thing though I wanted to talk about the recording session, because Jared, you and I, we took like a medium route.
Yeah.
Because we did, we went to Red Sound Studios, which was it was a house studio up here. With Ben Red was the producer and sound engineer there, and he did a really good job for an indie rock sound. After the fact, I'm like, okay, we were probably looking for a different sound, but we were also kind of discovering, like, our first EP is a little eclectic in its selection of songs.
Every song is completely different.
Yes.
Every single song.
So it's kind of like us stumbling and learning how to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I learned from that is that it's really the difference between the cheap way and the doing it, like paying to do it the right way. The really important thing is just the people. Because if we were doing another indie rock album, I think I would say let's go back to Ben and do that again.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you could be your own person if you know what you're doing and you know the right thing. But the reason you might want a producer is because they know things you don't know.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that was kind of like with this upcoming album that we're working on now. We decided to go back with Evan. Like, we know now, some more. We've had other producers approach us and want to record with us, and we respect them. But at the same time, we know what Evan has done with our sound already.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, you're kind of wondering, okay, so how would it turn out with somebody else right now? Like, is this, so that's kind of where we were, where it's like, we hit this one and we really like the sound we got. Are we going to be happy with the product with somebody else? Maybe.
Did you guys record with a click?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we did not actually for the home that he has promised.
So we recorded with a click on the rhythm instruments. Like when I played guitar or banjo or mandolin, there was a click.
We recorded the rhythm instruments all at the same time. Drums, bass, electric guitar, and grand piano.
Yeah.
And then I was playing a scratch track in another room. I was playing guitar and singing in another room to provide a scratch.
Yeah.
And we recorded everything at the same time there.
Yeah.
I've heard that there are two. I'm sure there's more, but from my understanding, there are two ways that you can do it. As far as each musician is recorded individually, or you go ahead and have the band practice a lot beforehand. That's going to be playing, so that then when they come in, you can have more of a live session feel for all the musicians at one time. Sometimes that can be cost effective. Sometimes it can't. It really depends on talking with your producer and trying to figure that out.
And scheduling.
And with ours is we did pre-production where we recorded scratch tracks with our vocals and the guitar. And then we went to a studio, and the drummer and the bass player played to our scratch track together, so they could play off each other, because that's really important with the bass and the drums. After we had those recorded, we went back to Evan's studio and we re-recorded the guitar, did banjo, mandolin, piano. He did some electric. We did vocals. So we did those, and then we called in a friend named Andy who did the steel and dobro at the end. And that worked out really well. This next time, the goal is actually to have more musicians in the room.
We're
But-
still working out those details.
Yeah, we're still working on details because it requires a larger studio, which especially in Nashville costs a lot more money.
Mhm.
And so to think through what's going to be, what can our Kickstarter friends provide?
Yeah.
Like what's feasible.
Well, also, going back to what would be being the best steward of the songs.
Yeah.
Mm.
There. So we're still figuring out those details. I don't know that answer yet.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our
That's all great.
yeah, our
Really great stuff.
You good, Jared?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Go for it.
Our final question for the evening is from Matt Kuntz, and he asks, "What's a good mobile recording setup or recording while traveling?"
Ooh,
Yeah.
Kenny?
So that's
I don't know.
no. So it's actually really similar to our home studio. So we keep a little blue box of all of our electrical and cables and stuff in the back of the truck, and in there I have a Scarlett interface. I have 2 condenser mics, and they plug into our iMac Pro or MacBook Pro through Logic Pro. And so I have the condensers. I can also plug into the guitar and get the pickup if I want to do that. But yeah, that allows us the freedom to do that. When we're on the road, we pull a camper. And so if I need to record in the camper, everybody has to leave.
Yep.
But a lot of times we end up parking our camper at churches and having access to buildings and stuff. So if we need to record in those spaces as well.
Yeah, I'm actually the talk about location, I think, is one of the most important things, because actually more important than how you're recording is where you're recording.
Yeah.
Having a quiet
Yeah.
background, having an isolated space, does it have natural reverb? Does it not? So
That's what made
Mhm.
that's what made Ben's project so interesting, was like he was having us record on voice memo. And so we had to go into a part of the church where it was quiet. But then like for me, like doing the banjo or the mandolin was, all right, I got to make sure the wall in front of me doesn't reflect the sound.
Mhm.
Or of a so like I went into one youth room and piled up a bunch of beanbag chairs, put a table against them, and then just kind of played towards the beanbag chairs.
Jared, the youth director, connects with that.
So it's funny how that, you need to, having the right equipment is good, but you also have to be aware of the space you're recording in. Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
record ducks and crickets and cicadas as we are right.
Yep.
Probably is a good idea.
We got
Sorry.
we got-
the best we
It's
We got-
authentic.
tree frogs.
can.
I guess
Yeah, yeah.
it fits our folk style.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It fits the branding. It fits the branding.
I
So
did
now
it.
that we've talked about the space, I have a lot of toys I want to show off.
All right.
So I have here, this one was a COVID purchase. Move it over here. This is the Zoom H6. So you said you have a Scarlett. This replaces the Scarlett in my works. So I had an interface like the Scarlett before, and then I moved to this for COVID. It was a week before the lockdown. I was watching the news stories, and I'm just like, I'm going to need this. And so I ordered it on Amazon, and it was there like a day before we locked down.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this is my Zoom H6, and it's the H6 because it has 6 inputs. What I like about it is that just like this, I'm able to record my songs. So if I'm going on vacation or something, I don't have to lug anything big around to be able to get a good, decent recording. And if I bring a 1/4 inch with me, I can plug the 1/4 inch or an XLR into here and get a multi-track recording. So then I can point this at my face, get voice, and have the guitar in there, and already I have separate tracks for a nice little demo. You can do basic mixing, gain staging on it. Has a little screen that shows you what everything is. And it also operates as an audio interface. So I can just set it on my desk and use that. So I used this for the longest time. It helped me get through COVID. Then Lindsay and her parents gifted me this for Christmas one year. And this is my Tascam Model 12, and I love it. So this is a mixer, interface, recorder, and controller all in one. And it is, I got the analog controls over here, but what it does is it allows me to do multi-track recordings from wherever I go, because it's portable enough. You can see in the video for the home that he has promised, it's sitting right next to me. I picked it up off my, say that again?
What was it called again?
Tascam Model 12. They also have like Model 24 and bigger models like that. But it has everything I need for a small portable recording studio because it has an SD card. We took this to run live sound at Wycombe, a church in our area recently. And I set it up and I just hit arm recording on all my tracks. And now I have a recording of our live concert.
Yep.
Just from that. And then what I do is, so as I said, the space is the most important. You want a good space. You want a good sound signal. If you can get a good sound signal, it doesn't really matter what equipment you have as long as the signal is clean. Because what you do is you take whatever you've been given and then you put it into a DAW.
Yep.
So the idea of your mobile recording setup is whatever gives you a good enough recording to put into a DAW. Because you're actually not trying to make the recording on the go. You're collecting the material on the go.
Right.
Yep.
And then you bring it back and then you work magic in your digital audio workstation or your video editing software.
Yep.
And I found with that, if you learn how to use a compressor, EQ, and reverb, you're 90% of the way there.
Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah, I'll show you guys some of the stuff that I've been toying with too. But you kind of need a computer. So I'm using my podcast mic for tonight, but it's really good for picking up guitar and vocals and stuff. And one of the things that drew it to me, that kind of drew me to this Blue Yeti, that's what it is got like headphone jack at the bottom. You can hear things without any delay, and you can actually hear what's going into the mic directly, which will be the direct feed into whatever program I'm using on my computer, recording software, anything like that. I'll show you guys a little cool thing. I haven't tested it out much, but I've been toying around with this guy. He's like it's a Rode mic.
A lav?
That plugs. It's not really. It plugs right into the your phone jack, and it's directional. And I mean, it's pretty wild. This is the Video Mic Me. It's one of their most popular, and it picks up, I mean, everything so crisply, and it comes with this cool, windshield and everything. But it's just real tiny. It fits in your pocket. You plug it in, and then I've been using it with an app called Filmora, which is like, you could do like some basic audio editing and video editing. If I'm doing stuff like Dan was talking about earlier, like YouTube recordings and stuff like that, it's really good for that sort of thing. So it's all kinds of like little cool gear that you can find.
Yeah, but I think the main idea is with your mobile studio, the idea is to collect and then you make the recording later.
Yep.
That's a good point.
So, yeah. So those are the 3 questions that we had from our group. Kenny and Claire, Is there anything else that you would want to share?
Oh, I don't know.
It could even just be some last minute things about your project, about your new
if you want to share about your
tour and
project,
project, anything like that.
Well, we are working towards our next project. We don't have specific details on Kickstarters and those sorts of things yet, but that will be later this year. But I will say that right now, as we tour, like I said earlier, we're sharing songs from Are You Weary and then new songs that we haven't released. And we're booking for basically all over America for 2023 and 2024. We're finishing up our Out West tour right now, and we're planning to come back out West next year. And then between this summer and next year, we have availability to go pretty much anywhere. So if anyone's interested in hosting a concert with us and basically just helping to support the work that we do and helping to get the word out about these songs, please contact us. We'd love to talk more with you.
We also say about this next album, the goal will be for it to follow the gospel arc of liturgy and to try to provide possibly 2 songs for each portion of a liturgy.
So we have songs specifically like Song of Confession. We have a song, read, a call to worship, a psalm song, a communion song, different songs that would fit within the different aspects and themes of a worship service. To fit that flow, and as Kenny mentioned, as kind of a gospel arc, as far as telling the story of the gospel through song, through the aspects of the service from beginning to end. So yeah, we're pretty excited about it. We've written for it, but as you guys said earlier, we want to be super choosy with what we're doing. I would say 10% of the project together, but I'm leaving room open for 10% for songs that we're still currently writing that we might like.
Hey, you want to collaborate?
That could be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Really
Kenny and Claire and Loch Cain.
awesome. Lots of bands. No, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
And what's the best way for people to like follow you? Where do you put up most of your stuff? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook, we're Kenny and Claire. Instagram, we're Kenny and Claire Music. Or you can just go to our website, kennyandclaire.com.
And if you're on YouTube, we have those links right on the screen.
Awesome. Thanks.
Hey, Jared, did you have any final questions?
No. It's all been really good stuff. A lot of really good technical stuff that people, I think musicians will like to know, So thank you guys for sharing.
Yep.
Well, thanks.
So thank you guys so much for coming on. Just a reminder for everyone, if it's June 2023, Loch Cain have a Kickstarter going for Christ, the Hope of Glory, and we could really use your help to get it the last 50% of the way. So share this with your friends, share this with your family, and yeah. Anything else, Jared?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay. Oh, and June 23rd, Friday, June 23rd, there will be a concert at Crossing Community Church. We'll play through the entire album to celebrate the end of the Kickstarter.
Awesome. Super fun.
Yep.
Well, we are excited for you guys and are excited to help try to get the word out for you as well. And I'm excited.
Thank you.
We're
excited
Thanks.
too. Okay,
We're excited.
Kenny.
We're excited for your new project too. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kenny, Claire, thank you so much for joining us. When you announce your next project, when you get the Kickstarter going, we'll have to do this again.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
For having us.
yeah,
Great.
my pleasure. My pleasure. Okay.
All right then.
Well then, everyone, I hope that we all have a good night.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
See ya. Thank you guys.